I think diversity is an absolute competitive advantage for any organization. It brings unbelievable innovation, it brings employee engagement, and it's been shown to incredibly improve performance. And for me, it's about diversity and inclusion. I find that diversity and inclusion is very much misunderstood. In Australia, it's become an issue for women. It's not about women, it's about everybody of all abilities, all thought processes, all orientations coming together and bringing innovative ideas and collaboratively bringing that to the organization. It's about everybody who lives in a country seeing people like them in organizations and in senior roles. And it's about having an inclusive culture that invites everybody into it and brings out the best in every individual. We see so many of the global organizations that are able to really unleash their creativity from diversity and inclusion just outperform their competitors at least 20% a year. And so we don't have any choice but to make this a strategic priority for organizations and to make sure that people understand what it is and what it can actually do for them. It's interesting, if I take the Cricket Australia example, we had a vision that said we want to be Australia's favourite sport. And so my discussion with the CEO is, how can we be the favourite sport if we're not a sport for all Australians? And so if you start to think about how do I make my vision a reality, I'm sitting in a multicultural workforce, I'm in a multicultural global sport. I need to look like that, I need to think like that so that I can actually be credible and can grow, because we're in a very competitive environment where people are fighting for everybody's attention with us. And so if we can be the one that truly lives the diversity and inclusion, and that's the sport for all Australians, it gives us an enormous competitive advantage in participation, in who attends our matches, in how people perceive us as an employer. And once you start linking diversity and inclusion to all those strategic pillars that you're trying to achieve, it's very easy for a CEO and a board to see the connections. For me, it's really important that you understand what you actually have, so understanding your as-is picture. So if you took diversity and you decided that it's about women, it's about Indigenous, it's about multicultural, it's about all abilities, if you start looking at that, one of the things I would start off with is, what do I actually have in the organization? It's important that you have evidence. And then if you look at your strategy, you say, what is it that I actually need? So my employees, I might have a strategy that says, for me to attract the best employees, I need to look like the Australian population demographics. And so I then model that in a scenario and look at what I actually have and measure the gap so that I know very firmly what it is that I'm working with. From that gap, I can then say, what would be a proper timeline and proper activities for me? So is it recruitment? Is it changing my employer value proposition? Is it doing different kinds of sourcing? Is it building capabilities bottom up in Indigenous communities so people are interested in the sport? If you can understand the gap between the as-is and the to-be, the timelines and the activities flow from that. And it has to be run like any other project. But it's also a cultural change. And that's critical, because otherwise you're going to have people just ticking off activities. It's absolutely critical that there's a lot of awareness and diversity training for people so that you create that inclusive culture around your diversity plan. The first thing for me is you need a diversity council and you need diversity champions. So you actually need a structure that formally works on it. So I would usually have my CEO as the chair of the Diversity Council. The second thing is I would develop my diversity strategy with that council by doing that as is and to be. The third thing is making sure all stakeholders are educated and made aware. The fourth thing is start celebrating diversity. So start telling people when it's Diwali, tell them when people are fasting, tell them what it's about. We do that here. And the fifth thing is start showing the champions you have. So one of our ideas is we're going to do a recruitment video with some of our diverse people that's on our website. When people apply, they can see that we have Vietnamese, we have Chinese, we have women in our organization, and showcase those people in the media so that people can see that this organization looks different to what they thought.